This podcast is recorded at the Zone Gym studio.
You're listening to the Raw Reality Podcast hosted by Tori Story and Fit with Lily. Guys, welcome back to the Raw Reality Podcast. Today we have a very beautiful special guest, SKYE SUTTON. She is a business owner and influencer with an audience over 4 million across her social media platforms. SKYE has experienced all the highs and lows social media has to offer at such a young age, being thrown in the deep end, and yet she has continued to stay true to herself.
We've had the pleasure of getting to know SKYE over the last few months, and she's truly one of the most down-to-earth and kind-hearted people we've met. We're thrilled to have her with us today to talk about body confidence and how society has shaped the way we see ourselves.
Oh, that was so nice. Thanks, guys.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. SKYE, we want to talk straight business.
Okay. I'm
But
ready.
we want to dive straight into your body confidence from a young age. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah, so I think like most girls, I think growing up, it's a bit of a roller coaster with body confidence. I think in the teenage years, it was definitely at a point, trying to work out, why I don't look like that person or this person. And, you're comparing yourself to like your peers around you. Everyone's growing up at different ages and you're trying to like find yourself. So I think in my teenage years, I think I can remember just not feeling just confident and like good with how I looked. But I think that was a very like universal experience for everyone in school especially.
Yeah, everyone since a young age. It's like you start to grow up and everyone starts to talk about things and you're like, oh, and then you actually start to realise what you're not rather than what you are. And especially at a young age, that's actually what you focus on.
Yeah, and everyone like looks so different. You're trying to work out like who you are as a person and like you're being sort of influenced by the people around you, like your friends. Like there's so many things that you're trying to work out at such like a fast pace when you aren't even like sure who you are yet.
Yeah.
I think that's probably something I remember, I guess, growing up is just not knowing who I was, and I think that played a big role in like how I felt about myself and my confidence.
How many years ago was that? Like how old are you now and how old were you then when you started to feel all of that pressure?
So I just turned 23 a couple months ago, and I remember specifically probably year 10 to year 12 was probably when I noticed it the most, or I started focusing on it the most. And I think in particular like boys enters the equation, and you start to like try and get validation from other guys, and you start basing, I guess, your worth on how much attention you're getting and silly stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so true. Do you remember a specific occasion when you were that age that it kind of triggered everything to begin with?
I would say social media would be one. I think you start to see people online, like girls in your year would be posting like photos at the beach and stuff like that. So then you start to want to do the same and get like attention and, why don't I look like that? Or how do I make myself, more likable or attractive? And why is this person getting more attention than me kind of thing? Or like, why am I not good enough? Why does he like her and not me? So I think probably social media was like when that really escalated, and I started trying to like fit a mold, which I think a lot of people do. I think it's a pretty universal experience, like Snapchat, Instagram, like all of that stuff.
Also on social media, when you're younger, it's like, even honestly in today's society, the less you wear, the more likes, you get, the more comments you get, the more, I guess, like so-and-so, like validation you get as well. So when you're young, that's what you think you need to actually have your worth. So it's like, okay, the more I post of like my body, the more validation I'm going to get, the more likes I get. And that is what makes me, so I guess, feel good.
Yeah.
And you come out on the other side and you're like, okay, that did not make me feel good in the long run.
Yeah, it's always like you do that and then you look back and go, okay, well, this person did more, or like, you go, oh, well, this person didn't like that. Like, you're continuously trying to, I guess, get more and focusing on what you don't have rather than what you do have, I guess.
Where did you start posting on social media?
Where or
When?
I would have been probably like year 10 or 11. I think I started like actually like posting probably 2020 after I'd finished school.
Yeah.
Like when I actually started to pursue it a bit more and enjoy it.
That was through COVID as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think that was when I started like, posting silly TikToks, and I started, I guess, becoming more absorbed by social media and start seeing not just people from my school, but like people all around the world. And then I think I actually started getting followers after I moved out of Canberra, which was in 2020, late 2020.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely COVID is when I started going, oh, like this is a thing. Like this is what people do.
I think it's a lot of people realize that social media can become a job. Like it's obviously been something for so long, and you had the OG, I guess, influencers. But COVID was kind of make or break for people to be like, all right, I'm going to start posting and make a thing of it, or it's just for fun.
Yeah, I think that was really eye-opening. Like I remember in school I'd watch like people like Shani Grimmon and like Michael Finch, and I was like, this is so cool. Like this is so fun. I love this. But then COVID was when like LA became a thing, and it was like, this is so cool. This is like the epitome of cool.
Yeah.
And I think that became like really eye-opening and just like, wow, what is this land of like social media?
Was there a particular video you did that popped off that I guess made you kind of realize that you could potentially actually turn this into a job? Or was it just over time that it accumulated?
I think over time it accumulated.
Yeah.
I remember one specific TikTok, which is still I think like my most viewed TikTok ever, which was just like doing a silly like dance in a gym bathroom, and it like blew up. I think I got like 2 million followers from that video.
Wait, 2 million from that one video?
I think so. Yeah.
That's wild.
It was like crazy. And then that's when I was just like, oh, this is like, I can turn this into something and something sustainable.
Yeah. So how many views did that video get then?
I think it got over 30 million. I think.
I
remember just like scrolling, like refreshing the app, being like, this is insane. Because I like was friends with people who like did TikTok, and like I knew this happened, but I think I was just like, whoa.
It's not until it happens to you that you're like, oh, this happens.
This is crazy. Yeah.
I feel like as well right now, you can't blow up that quickly anymore.
No, now it's so much harder.
then.
It's so over like saturated, which is great, like amazing. But I think back then, like it was much easier to get.
To go bang.
Yeah, now it's like a very common
Which is why
thing.
I think it takes a certain type of people to put in the work and to be able to grow a platform, because it doesn't just happen like that.
No, whereas for me it kind of did a little bit.
Which we love.
I'm grateful for it.
So we want to address some TikTok drama that's been happening.
Yes.
Unfortunately for you. Before, I feel like this conversation is going to lead us into the major part of what we want to speak about today on body confidence and self-love. And we really just wanted to allow you to have a place and a safe space to share your story and just speak your voice, because I think, as we all know with social media, things can get taken and twisted and people just assume things, and it's been something I've been harping on about with Lily at the moment, is just how quick people are to just snap and have their opinion and not realize that there's actually emotions behind someone's post or whatever it is. So we want to get into the situation for you to, shed light on. But I guess what's blown up on TikTok, for those of you who don't know, is your BBL, which you got in 2020, I believe.
Yes.
And you were 19.
Yeah, 19
so obviously
by 2
such
weeks.
a young age, and I think something that we really want to dive into on self-love and all that sort of stuff, because you've learnt so much from that situation. But what do you think has made it kind of kick off in the last couple months?
I think it's controversial without context. I think if from what I've seen, it's like, oh, this girl who's posting fitness content got a BBL.
Yeah.
Like I can very much see how people look at that and go, that's not right. But I think there's just so much more to it that I know and the people who know me know.
Yeah.
And I think it's like hard to talk about because it is such like a personal thing that I went through, but it is obviously something that needs to be spoken about, and I need to do better and be a bit more braver when it comes to talking about it, regardless of like the criticism I may get.
Even you haven't seen it yet. Have you watched the Molly May documentary yet?
I haven't, but people have spoken to me about it and like said things.
When she has the drama with her launch of her designer brand, basically she gets a lot of hate because a product went wrong, and her manager was like, you need to stay quiet, this is your reputation. And she was like, no, I've stayed quiet for too long that I need to put my big girl pants on and speak to my audience, because it's my brand, it's, whatever it is, like for you, it's your personal brand, it's your story. Yeah. And it can be so hard because obviously people are so judgmental. But I think the second you open up about it, because for right now, people are just judging on what they're seeing.
Yeah.
It's also
100%.
so hard. You spoke about it last year.
Mm-hmm.
You completely opened up on social media. You pinned that post. Then you go through all of the comments on your current TikToks and social media, and it's like they haven't even watched that video, and they're all making assumptions off literally a 30-second clip with zero context and going absolute ham. And I'm like, this guy literally just explained this in a video above. Like, go read above. And people are so quick to judge.
And they're too lazy to like go and look at your profile and go, oh, she has a story on this.
Yeah, I think that's been the shittest part, to be honest. Because I did, when I first started doing like fitness content and when I got certified as like a PT, because I knew that this was like the direction I wanted to take my life in, I was like, well, I'm obviously going to have to talk about it now. And so I made like a YouTube video, like covered it all, left that link in my bio. And I think at that point, I was like, okay, I've done my job. That's cool. It's been spoken about on my fitness page on Instagram, spoke about it a lot as well. And to be honest, I was like, okay, like I've done my part. And then about, May last year, it kind of became a big like scandal and people were, throwing their opinions out about it. And I think I remember having one specific conversation with my best friend who's like seen, I guess, my growth throughout the years and has been like by my side through it all. And she was like, I was so upset and angry. And she was like, look, Sky, like I know it's really, really shit and it feels really, really unfair. And there's always going to be like people who don't like you or don't agree or don't see your side. And that's unfortunately how it is. But like focus on the people whose values you do care about. And those would be like women and girls who feel like misled or like betrayed because they didn't see the YouTube video or they didn't go to click on the YouTube video. And she was like, this is not going to go away unless you, I guess, put something that's right in front of people's faces where it's like they can't miss it. Yeah. And she was like, just be open, be vulnerable, put yourself out there and the right people will stay. And I was like, you're right. Like I need to do more. And so that was my pinned video. Yeah. I made that video, pinned it. And I literally was just like so proud of myself and I was so happy. I was like, okay.
Well, it's not easy.
Yeah. No, it was really hard, but I knew it was like the right thing to do. And I think I was like, okay, the right people will stay. And I was like made peace with that. I was really happy with, I guess, the video. And I got so many beautiful messages and so many people were so supportive. And now this has like happened again and it's like become a kind of trend. I was like, I really, really didn't think, and maybe this was naive of me, I didn't think this would happen again.
It's hard when you feel like you have done everything you can and you've explained yourself and then it keeps coming to the surface. Yeah. The other thing is you've done an incredible job at staying quiet, I would say, and not reacting and responding to all these videos because I would go through your comments and I'd be like, I want to respond to every single person. Be like, you don't know Sky. I love Sky. She's beautiful. She's not trying to portray that. Like they actually have no idea. No. How have you felt throughout the past, I'm going to say like 6 months? How have you stayed quiet and not respond and react, knowing that you've done everything you can do?
Well, I think that's kind of it. Like, I think because I have a clear conscience and I know my intentions are good, I lived through all of the experiences. I lived through healing, like, and finding love for myself again and forgiving myself for what I've done at freshly 19. And that was so challenging within itself. And it's like, I can't let these strangers take me back to that place where I'm like hating myself or angry at myself for the choices I made. Like, I think protecting your peace. I've like, part of me wants to like sit everyone down and like tell my story and explain things and like prove to them like I'm not that person that they think I am. But then I think also making peace with the fact that not everyone is going to like you is so important. And the people that know me and are in my life support me and they know that my intentions are good and they know who I am and I just have to be okay with that. But also it has been hard for sure.
There's a quote that goes around and it says, not everyone's going to like you and remember you don't even like everyone. And I always remind myself that because I have a really I always find it really hard. I want everyone to like me, but I'm like, Lily, you do not like everyone either. Yeah. So it's like actually being okay with that. Let's rewind a few years ago, back when you were 19.
Yes.
What was that initial decision to kind of go and get that procedure done?
Yeah, so 18 was when COVID happened for me. And I think that was like the era of TikTok. Like that's when it all became a thing. And prior to that, I'd been gymming. I like have a very big sporting background growing up. Love sport. It got me out of a really bad place when I was like 15, 16, 17 with mental health. And it brought stability in my life and just sort of a structure that I needed at the time. And first it was like sport, like team sport. Then it became gym in like year 11. And that I loved the gym. Like I didn't really know what I was doing at all, but like just the structure and stability it gave me, I was able just to leave like all the problems at the door and just, you know, have my like, just became my safe place. And then I lost that in COVID. And what replaced it was me in my room on my phone scrolling. And I think that was when I'd been exposed to like a beauty standard that I didn't see so much of growing up, which was obviously like an example would be like the Kardashians. Like that was the epitome of beautiful. And I was like, I don't have that. I don't look like that. That's a problem. And I think just like hours and hours of just consuming myself with that content of like, I'm not good enough. This is what people find attractive. This is what people like. That took a massive toll on me. And I think at that age, you just don't know any better. And then I made a lot of money really quickly by starting like my OnlyFans. And my initial instinct was just like, problem solved. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get fat transferred, put it in like the outsides of my glutes. It's going to give me like those hips that I'm missing because naturally I don't have them. I'm very like...
And I think too, like you said, in that initial stages of when TikTok kind of became a thing.
Yeah.
It was that curvy... Like,
yes.
Again, the
Hourglass.
Kardashian is what everyone was after, which... And even for her, like it's not realistic for everyone.
Even like Addison Rae, like she's beautiful, but like you see her, it's like the curvy, the big hips, the dance moves, like that's what you want to be when you're that young.
Yeah, I was like, I don't fit that criteria. That's not good enough. And so I think it was just like eating away. And honestly, this was in the span of like not that many months that I'd made this decision. Like it was so impulsive. And I think that's what makes me so like upset with it is like it was just not much critical thinking involved, but I guess like when you're that young, you just like quick problem solving. And I think, like, and I think when you're young and you don't have access to that much money normally as well. So it was like, okay, well, I think probably most girls when they turn 18 like want a boob job or they want to get things done, but like can't. Yeah. And then they get a bit older and then they can make a more educated decision. Whereas me, it was like, I want this, I'm going to go get it. And did it. And then realize what have I done? Like, what have I done?
Was it immediately as you woke up?
I think the following months, I think it was like a blur, to be honest. I think it didn't even feel real. Like it was all in such quick, like, what's the word?
Period. Yeah.
Yeah, like such a quick time frame of like, I'm getting this is happening, done. And then I think like it was obviously a very like invasive procedure. It was very like awful, the recovery. But then I moved to Brisbane and then I think that's when it hit me of like, oh, I really don't like how I look. And I like lost like 5 kilos in the recovery stage. Like, because I wasn't able to exercise beforehand because I was trying to put on weight to even have enough fat. Like I was very skinny like beforehand. Yeah. So like I stopped exercising, so I think that as well taking exercising my form of therapy away from me leading up to this procedure probably even just made that whole experience worse.
Like a snowball effect.
Yeah, because I wasn't put in a healthiest environment to like maybe go, oh, maybe this isn't the right idea.
Yeah. What was the point of post-procedure coming to Brisbane and being like, you know, flashing back to before the procedure being like, yeah, this is going to solve all my problems. It's going to be everything that I need. To then having the procedure, moving to Brisbane and going, this hasn't answered any of my questions or hasn't solved any of my problems. Yeah. What was going through your head at that point?
Yeah, a lot. I think I remember specifically one time I was at my friend's apartment and we're taking pictures at the pool. And I remember looking at the photos and I just like broke down in tears because I was just like, I don't like how I look. And I genuinely thought I was going to wake up looking like Kylie Jenner, like literally thought that it would just be poof and all my problems would be solved with this, which now seems ridiculous, but when you're that young, you don't know any better.
Yeah.
I remember that being a very specific time where I was just like, oh, yeah, what have I done? And then I think I snowballed into a very, very nasty place, felt very disconnected to my body. I was like, I've really put myself through this like super invasive surgery at such a young age, such an expensive surgery, gone through all of that to hate it and prefer how I looked beforehand. And then at that lowest point, I was like, I just want to like go to the gym. Like, I just want to go to the gym. That's what helped me all those years before when I was struggling with mental illness. Go back there.
Go back to the roots.
And yeah, then I did, and that kind of turned everything around.
You realize that obviously getting that procedure done wasn't going to make you happy. That wasn't going to make you love yourself more.
No.
How did you go from after, like you said, you almost, we're not going to use the word regret it because we spoke about that the other day, and that's not like the language you use with yourself. It's you kind of want to go back and give yourself a hug. How did you go and navigate those few months from realizing maybe you made a mistake to then actually coming to acceptance that you can't change it? But how did you go through that journey of like actually finding self-love again?
That was a long journey, and I think that's what I'm still on, to be honest. I think going to the gym really helped. I think putting myself in an environment where you train because you love yourself and you train because it's good for you and it makes you happy. Being in that positive environment like did wonders. I think it brings back that stability. You have a goal to work towards. I think that in itself, just putting myself in that environment changed my mindset a lot. I started to go, oh, okay, like building muscle is like really cool. Like, you know, you can achieve goals by putting work in. Like that started to really like flip a switch, and I started to see, you know, results and really consume myself. I think in a way of coping with what I had been through was diving headfirst into, you know, fitness and the gym and like consuming myself with something that was healthy and constructive rather than just like focusing on the past. And I think that healed me a lot. And I think in terms of, I guess, forgiving myself, I just keep trying to tell myself if I was to erase all the mistakes I made, I would erase myself. And I would be.
I got goosebumps with that. It makes me like want to cry.
I know, same. But I think like, you know, like my biggest lessons in life are my biggest mistakes. And I think those mistakes, the BBL being one of them, has been so pivotal in creating who I am now. And I love who I am now. I'm so proud of who I am now. So it's like I have to be proud of the journey that got me there, and that's a big part of the journey.
100%. And it's accepting the decision that the 19-year-old self made for what you thought was right at the time. And it's a podcast I listened to recently, and I can't remember who I was saying it to, but almost everyone and all the hard times they've gone through is the reason why they are where they are.
Yeah.
And like I'm someone who like I never have regrets because it's never a failure, it's always a learning.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have the beautiful message that you have to share today without that BBL, without the situation that you went through. And it's like, yes, it was hard for you to navigate the time. You've come to peace with it now, which is like, again, the biggest piece of the journey. And now you go, now I'm going to use my pain as power. And I think that's when the story completely changes. And when people, toxic people on TikTok, can take the time to see that and realize that you actually have a powerful message behind it, is when they go, oh shit, she's a person and a human and someone who has feelings and a story behind this. And it's not just for clout and for money, and it's none of that.
No, I think that was like what broke my heart and made me so upset, was because like when I started doing like the PT stuff, I spoke to like my business coach at the time, and I was like, I'm so scared that I won't be accepted in the industry because of what I did when I was like 19. Like I'm so scared that people are going to like hold that against me. And I was just like so afraid, but I was like, I'm more scared of getting old and looking back and being like, I let other people's opinions define my life. And so I think like that's what's kept me going for so long, is like I want to be like proud of my journey and, you know, get to a place where I can look back and go like, you did it, like good on you. Like you turned it around, you used a really negative experience and turned it into a positive.
And I think this story is going to help so many young girls as well know that a decision when they're that young is going to impact their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But even if they've made a mistake when they're younger, you can use it for positive and it's just going to create who you are today.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you learn and you grow and you develop, that is the most important thing at the end of the day.
100%.
Yeah.
So you went to America in
Yes.
2022. Can
Yes.
you talk us through what America brought you, what the scene was like over there?
Oh, that was such a crazy time. I remember, like, yeah, literally just when I guess things started going crazy on TikTok, I was like, I want to go to America. I want to, like, you know, experience all of it, really. Like, it was so, like, it's just such a different world. And,
So you
yeah,
would have been
going...
20 in 2022?
I was 20, and then I went again at 20 when I was 21.
Yeah.
So 2022, 2021, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was so much fun. Like, for that season of my life, it was so much fun. And I look back with such, like, fond memories of LA. It's so different to Australia. So different.
Did you go over there and it was like meeting other TikTokers, meeting other influencers and like creating, collabing with them?
Yeah.
Because that again is a whole different scene.
Yeah, a lot of it was that. I even got like a visa. I don't remember the exact type of visa, but it was like a 6-month visa because I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. Like, this is so fun. Like, I want to be amongst all of it. This is so exciting. I'm meeting all these cool people. Yeah, so different. Like, you would literally just go to the gym and like just see like celebrities and rappers just like walking around and people creating like insane, like you think mic'd ups are like crazy content and like this was insane. But it was so cool.
Yeah. That'd be such a fun experience. People, so you were like saw Bryce Hall and everything like that. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's what people also know you from through
Yeah.
TikTok is like collabing with him and meeting him
Yeah.
and doing all of that. What would you say the biggest difference between American influencers and Australian influencers are?
I think it's such like a big industry there. Like here, I think everyone kind of does their own thing. And like you obviously like meet people through being on social media and you connect with them because you have that in common. But there it's like a whole like industry. Like you've got people doing these things intentionally for views and like working together. Like they're so business minded with how they think about social media and they just want to create traction and just it's really interesting. They're all very like intelligent when it comes to that space because it's
That's the biggest misconception with social media that people and TikTokers especially just post a video. They don't understand that there is strategy behind that video to go viral. The people they've collabed with previously as well to actually get that traction for people to get extra views and likes and all of those things. It's a whole ordeal.
Yeah, and it's like it's their whole life. Like I think in LA there's not really, well, I guess I was in a very small like niche kind of people. Whereas like here, like there's just so many people doing so many different things, but there it's like social media is everything.
Yeah, you wouldn't find a TikTok house in Australia.
No, well, exactly right. Like people wouldn't get like, a content house and live with people for the sole purpose of creating content. But I think it's different there. Like people get paid like the creator fund and stuff. So I guess it makes sense because they are actually, there's a lot more money over there to be made doing TikTok, for example.
Did you find that it consumed you when you were over there?
I think social media as a whole consumed me at like that age. I think it was so new and exciting and I think I loved the idea of like people recognizing me and like I thought it was just the coolest thing ever because it was just like I came from Canberra, like a random place, and now I'm in LA with like all these cool people. Like what is my life? But yeah, social media definitely consumed me and I think at that point I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life either. I was figuring it out while you've got like you're putting your life on social media on public is like a bit of a crazy thing when you think about it.
We recently spoke about last week that you get nervous to show your true personality online. Like all your TikToks and your social media is probably like the same similar content, but now you're starting to lean into showing your personality. Yeah. What do you think has held you back the past few years to actually show the world who you truly are?
I think like a mixture of like being scared and then also wanting to protect myself. I think for me the longest time I've tried to separate social media and keep that as work and then my personal life and all of that separate. I think that's pretty important to do, but I also can see how that's kind of shot me in the foot a little bit, especially recently. But I think there's a mixture of things, but yeah, like saving, I guess, who I am as a person and my personality for the people that are in my circle, like been trying to keep that private has been a priority for me so I can, you know, turn off the phone or whatever and be able to just be myself with my friends and stick to like, you know, going to the gym. Okay, that's my workspace. That's where I'm going to film and create content. Then on the weekends or when I'm at home, that's my home. That's not where, you know what I mean? Like try not to intertwine the two. But also it's been, for the most part, up until recently, very easy to control what people say about you if you're only showing them a very specific part of you. And for me, doing a workout, putting music over the top, that's felt safe. And I think like I was able to very much control the response I got because I'm, you know, using strategic camera angles or I'm posing and I know, you know, rinse and repeat, I know what works.
Or if you've seen that comment like a few times, you're like, oh, I've seen that. Yeah. Everyone comments the same thing, like it doesn't affect you.
No, it doesn't affect me. I think I've become fairly resilient. I also think going back to the whole BBL stuff, like one of the lessons I really learned was like you have to love yourself. Like you have to love the way you look and you have to be comfortable with the way you look. Like your body is your home. You have to treat it with love. So I think for me, if someone makes a comment about the way my body looks, I'm like, I don't care. Because in the back of my mind, I'm like, I can't let myself go back to that place that I was like, you know, 5 years ago. So I'm very good now at just going with any comments like that. Whereas personality or people talking about my character or the way I speak or like even the way I talk, like that I think I would take a lot more personally because I haven't done it before. So it's scary. And then I think like being vulnerable, like obviously like you take the pinned TikTok video, like a lot of people were great about it, but also there's going to be people who go, oh, well, she's doing that for that reason, this for that reason, and like questioning, I guess, my character. And I think that I would take a lot more to heart. So it's just easier to just not give them access.
You guys know how busy Tori and I have been lately, and Papa Macros have been a time saver. They are a meal prep company that delivers ready-to-go meals straight to your door.
One thing that we love most is their clean ingredients, not using any seed oils or preservatives, which can be common amongst ready-to-go meals. The macros are incredible and they have over 70 meals on the menu with different categories to fit your current goals.
Lucky for you, we have partnered with Papa Macros, so if you're struggling with meal prep, poor on time, or just wanting to switch it up, they are the perfect addition to your weekly plan. Just use code RAWREALITY for a discount on your next order. And you'll never get tired of eating the same meals as they update their menu every month, so the variety is never ending. We hope you enjoy.
There's always this saying that when someone basically criticizes you and you don't believe it, it doesn't hurt you. Yeah. But when someone criticizes you and you believe it, it really hurts you. So, for example, when they're actually criticizing your personality and you opening up, you're like, oh my God, like that's actually me. You're hurting me. Whereas, like you said, it's like your body and you're just like, well, like that's not true. Like you're actually making false accusations. That's wrong. It doesn't hurt you. Yeah. So it can be so scary to open up and actually show the real you. But equally, like we spoke about, it's so important to show people who you really are.
Yeah, and I think especially like with the whole BBL comments, like for me, that's me sharing like one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through and such a big part of me, something like I hold very close to my heart. So sharing that's so scary. And then the idea of getting criticized for that is like petrifying. Like it's so scary to me. So I think it's just like doing what I needed to do, but also just being so scared that people are going to like misunderstand me or I'm going to say the wrong thing and people are going to run with it. You know what I mean? Like it's so scary. But then I think a big lesson is this is like, you have to, like, even if it is scary, because people are making assumptions about me regardless of if I post me talking or like share that side of me or not. And I would much rather people have content like this of me to judge off base instead of like a workout video. Like,
and that's where it's like, again, it's going to be another journey for you to go on as you start to share this sort of stuff. Because like it's something we've done from the start, I would say. But no matter when you start, it's going to be you navigating how your audience is going to take it. And because you've, I guess, primed your audience of workouts and fitness, it's going to be a whole new ball game for you.
For sure.
But it's just also looking at it and going, this is another level of love that I get to build for myself. Yeah. And go, I love what I do, you know the purpose behind it, and people are going to fucking say whatever they want to say at the end of the day, and it's just learning to like block it out and staying true to yourself, which you have done, and I think you've shown yourself your resilience in the last 6 months since this has all come up. And like you've not changed anything about yourself because of what other people are saying, but it's learning to like navigate that, and it's going to be the same.
And I think like the thing that I've come to terms with in like the last year is I want to have a good impact. I want to have a positive impact, and I want to have a positive impact particularly on women and girls, and I want to use what I've been through to help others navigate whatever they may be going through, and also teach people like choose the right path. Like I didn't choose the right path to start with. I'm on the right path now, but hopefully like help people take the right path the first time, which is obviously like scary to talk about. I think I'm still like healing and forgiving myself, so it is hard. But I also acknowledge that I need to make myself uncomfortable to help other people. And the last thing I want is for my audience to think that I'm being dishonest or like deceiving them, because that's genuinely the last thing I want to do with my platform. Like I know the impact social media can have on someone's mental health, particularly with like body image. And I want to contribute to the positive side of social media and never ever like the toxic side.
Yeah. I think you'll find too, you'll heal through your own content. Yeah. Like since I've started sharing my acne journey, I have healed through sharing. And I think it's just like, it's going to be scary initially. And even, you know, you doing this podcast and like being open about it and speaking to an audience, it's like you're going to like listen back, or the more you speak, it's like journaling. It's like when you journal and get things out of your head, you're healing it. You're healing the emotions that have been hurt in your body. Yeah. And it's the same as like speaking it and getting it out. You're like, oh, like I'm getting this off my chest, and you're allowing yourself to speak your truth and just show the world that this is who you are. And like you go through another level of healing you didn't think was possible. Yeah,
I think that's such a good point, because I think I held, and I still do to an extent, hold a lot of shame for what I did.
For sure.
And so I think it's hard to talk about it when you're still trying to like figure it out. But I think, the more you talk about it, it's like exposure therapy. The more you talk about it, the easier it gets, for sure.
Let's switch the gear for a second and talk about you starting your own business, online, an activewear company.
Yes.
That is so exciting. What sparked the interest for you to start your own business, and especially an activewear brand?
Yeah, so I think like a few years ago, obviously when I started the gym, going to LA, coming back, I started to think about what I wanted to do with my life, what direction I wanted to take my life. And I knew gym and fitness was the industry I wanted to be in. I think I have such a good relationship with the gym and everything that comes with it. It's just where I'm the happiest and I feel the most myself. So I wanted to do something that aligned with that.
Business is called Aligned, guys.
But initially I thought activewear is too hard. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anyone who started like a clothing business. I know a lot of people who do personal training, and I have learnt so much, and it's healed me in so many ways. I'd love to be able to help other women the same way that, you know, the gym's helped me. And I also was fresh on my mind of like, oh, I wish like I had someone who could point me in the right direction, like at the gym all those years ago, because like maybe if I was better educated, I wouldn't have, you know, hated the way I looked or been so insecure. I would have been like, okay, if I want to, you know, grow my glutes or I want to grow my legs, do this. So I think that was like, you know, wanting to be the person that I needed when I was younger. And so I got qualified and started doing that, and I did really enjoy it, but I think like it wasn't the thing for me. Still loved it. And then I think obviously a lot of people, you know, online like having their say about, you know, my BBL, my past and selling programs really like took the passion away from it. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this forever and ever. I think as well, I wanted to create something that didn't rely on me posting myself. At this stage, I think I was 22, and I was like, when I become 30, I don't want to like rely on posting myself online. So I wanted something that I can create now and use my brand and online presence to, you know, lift it off the ground, but then eventually can step back and do all the business sides of things and not have to worry about that stuff. And then just the idea of like activewear just kept going in the back of my mind. And then someone who has his own businesses, very successful businesses, was like, why don't you do this? Like, you're silly not to. You post yourself in activewear every single day. Like, make your own. Instead of putting money in other people's pockets, put it in your own. And I was like, you know what, you're right. Fair enough. Got me there. So that's when I started, creating a line. And I was fortunate that I have so many people who have their own businesses that they were able to give me the support where I needed it. But it's just been such a rewarding journey. I think it's the first thing in my life where I've really feel like I've worked for something and I deserve the success. I think like obviously with like TikTok and stuff, like it's hard in certain ways, but I didn't feel like I always had an imposter syndrome a little bit. I was like, this doesn't feel right. I'm not going to bed feeling like I made a difference or I feel fulfilled in any way. And I think Align has like really healed me in that sense of creating something that I'm so, so proud of. And I can continue to keep working and working. And I, go to bed excited for the next day of like, what's tomorrow going to bring? What can I learn tomorrow? So that's Align. I think it's like a accumulation of all my passions, I think, of like, fitness and, feeling confident and design and creativity and just creating something that's mine. So
all meshed into one.
Yeah, I'm so proud of it.
Like you said as well, it's not you as a person. Like basically right now or as of like a year ago, your body and you, that was your job.
Yes.
But it's now like, okay, I want to actually have something else that I can work towards, and how I look and my appearance and any sort of thing to do with that actually doesn't matter. That's irrelevant now. So putting your passion somewhere else and like growing something is so exciting.
100%. I think as well, like, with the PT stuff, like my body or the way I looked was my selling point for a lot of people. And I didn't like that. I think it took away from the enjoyment that the gym was. It wasn't like a safe space anymore. It was a workplace. And I think like I still like do programs. They just like passively run in the background, but I think it's just, Align's so perfect for me, and I think it just fits. I feel like I'm doing something that I'm meant to be doing, which is really nice.
Yeah.
What would you say the hardest challenge you've faced in starting Align?
I think backing myself. I remember, like, obviously I've done TikTok. Like I've done TikTok for years. I don't have any like experience with business or anything like that. So I think throwing myself in the deep and investing literally all my savings into it and learning as I go, literally having no idea what I'm doing and working it out as I go through trial and error was really hard. And also just so many like moments I was like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Is this going to work out? What if I lose all this money, all this time for nothing? What am I going to do then? Because this was literally all I wanted to do. Like if this failed, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. So I think that was so scary and overwhelming. And I remember so many calls with my dad just being like in tears of like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is so, so scary and overwhelming and I don't know what to do. Like, should I just give up? But I think you learn to problem solve. And I think each time I got over a hurdle, I grew a little bit more confident in myself. But learning to back myself and trust that like you're going to figure this out because you have to figure it out. Like there's no other alternative. So you're going to work it out.
It is terrifying starting a business and not knowing if it's going to work or fail.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's just a matter of like keep pushing and keep showing up like absolutely no matter what.
Yes.
Even if you hit an obstacle, you learn from it and then you're probably not going to experience that again in the future.
Yeah.
And by starting your own business in 10 years' time, like you're going to be so knowledgeable in literally every single aspect. Because right now, you're probably doing the design, the creation, the customer service, the marketing, the everything. So you are the whole brand and everything. So then as you get older and as the brand evolves, you're actually across everything and you become so knowledgeable in the area. So although it's terrifying now, in a future years, it's the best thing you probably could have done.
100%. And I think, just feeling fulfilled. Like that's what I was missing for so long. Like, everything else I've done is like cool, like in fun season, but I think finding something that like is truly fulfilling and you're passionate about has been just the best experience ever.
It's the same as us starting the podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of successful people who have just started with a passion and figured out how to make it a business. And I think the most successful people are the ones who have gone through all the errors to get to where they are now.
Yeah, and you can look at that with like whole life. Like you learn the best, like the most from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Like take the BBL for example. Like biggest mistake, learnt the most from it, still learning so much from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So something that I learned about you on this weekend is you've never been in a relationship.
No,
never
I
had
haven't.
a boyfriend. And a lot of our listeners, a big question we get is, how do I get comfortable with being myself, like being by myself in my 20s and feeling like I'm never going to find love? How do you cope with it?
I think I've never been super like, I really want a boyfriend. Obviously, a boyfriend would be amazing, but I think something that I've learned and I've really stuck with is I'd much rather be by myself than be with the wrong person. And I just haven't met, like in the past, haven't met anyone that I was like, yeah, I could see the rest of my life with you. And I think I was also like going through so many phases in my life where I didn't really know what I wanted. So I think I was working out who I was as a person, like going through so many changes. It was such a roller coaster that I wasn't at a point where I felt not stable, but my life was stable enough to like have a partner. But I'm also so like happy that I've never had a boyfriend, because I've learned so much about myself, and I was able to go on so many like self-discovery, you know, areas where I like work out exactly who I am. I was able to put so much energy into myself, and I feel like now I'm able to like experience the life that I do now, and I love so much because I was able to put all that time into myself. I think if I had a boyfriend, let's say 2 years ago for like a year or 2 years, who knows where I would have been. I might still be in Brisbane. Like,
You may still be in LA doing TikTok. Who knows?
seriously, right? Like, there's so many things that I've done that makes me love my life so much because I was the one making those decisions. I didn't have anyone influencing what I was doing, and also just becoming just so content, I guess, with your own company, but also like friends, and like this love is like everywhere. Like, it's not just like your partner. Like, some of the most beautiful like connections I have is like with my best friends. And I'm so grateful for them because they like know everything about me. They love me so much, and I think I really lean on them for that connection.
Yeah.
But
That's a very like beautiful way to put it, because a lot of people like need someone else again for that validation, but you have come so far in loving yourself that you don't need that outsourced validation to feel like you're being loved.
And this is where the biggest aspect comes in of like, you want someone to add to your life, not take away from it.
Yeah.
And something my mum always taught me was like, I want someone in my life, but I don't need them.
Yes.
And I think that's something that I've learned is like, if you can be confident in yourself and where you are in life without anyone, then adding the perfect person is just going to elevate your life.
Yeah.
And I think it's so powerful coming from you, and even knowing that at a young age as well, being like, no, I just want to figure myself out first is so powerful, because I think both Lily and I have had long-term past relationships where I was literally from 12 to 18, like I was a child.
Yeah.
And until I was probably 22, I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, we've obviously learned so much from it, but I think to know that from a young age is so powerful.
Yeah.
And even just that in itself is such a powerful message for you to share on your TikTok.
Yeah. Literally.
tuned.
Someone, do you know Millie Fit from UK?
Yes.
Yes.
She has just started like documenting. She's
The
never had a
business?
boyfriend either.
I've-
I was
wait,
just gonna say she's never
Millie-
had a boyfriend.
am I thinking the wrong one?
Yeah, different people. I'll show you her.
Okay.
She's just started documenting that she's never had a boyfriend, and
Oh,
it has
yeah,
like
different one.
300,000 likes, like within the space of days, because so many young girls can relate to it. And she was like, I have such high standards now. From when you're younger, you just grasp for anything you can get. You don't actually know your standards. Like, I 100% had no idea my standards, no idea my boundaries. So they constantly got walked over. The only thing that actually like made them in place was learning who I am, what I want. And that came from being older and then being actually able to translate that into another relationship. But now for you, it's like, no, you know exactly who you are and what you want. So you can implement that from get-go.
Yeah.
The same as the whole like Kim Kardashian like wanting curves. Everyone just wanted a boyfriend because it's cool.
Well, you see it,
Like,
I think,
that's-
on social media, you just sort of see, I guess, people's stories and posts of, like, having partners and stuff. But, like, that doesn't mean, like, you're doing something wrong if you don't have that.
Yeah.
And you have Oakley.
Seriously, honestly.
Who I still haven't met yet.
You haven't met Oakley?
No
By the
way.
sorry,
Oakles?
Oakley is Skye's dog.
He's the best,
And
hey.
him and Ziggy need to meet.
No, well, I think that actually has helped me so much is, like, because I live alone.
If you Don't have a boyfriend. If you do have one, just get a dog. It'll fix every part of your life.
If you don't have a boyfriend, if you do have a boyfriend, if you're married, if you're divorced, get a dog.
Just a
If
dog.
you're sad, if you're happy, just get a dog.
They're the best, especially boy dogs. I feel like boy dogs are just so, I love them.
They do. They are.
What would be something that you would tell your younger self or your 18, 19-year-old self?
Oh, God.
She's standing right
She's
there
like,
in front
sit down,
of you.
girl.
Oh,
We've got a story.
So much. This is a really good one. So much. I think, again, I'd give myself a hug and just be like, just be patient. Just stop. Just chill. Just breathe. Because I genuinely believe that if I just didn't get so caught up in everything online and caught up in my own head, I would have realised, even at that young age, that it's unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. And it was so unnecessary. I didn't gain anything from it at all. But I think just slow down and focus on just being yourself and accepting yourself and trust the process, rather than feeling like you need to fix something about yourself.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Thanks.
I like it.
And what would be your favourite quote that you live by?
Probably the one tattooed.
Oh, what do you have?
I choose hope.
Love that.
But I also love the one which is like, if you were to erase all the mistakes you made, you would erase yourself.
Yeah.
When you said that before, I was like, damn.
Yeah,
That is
it's
so
a good
true.
one.
Yeah.
That is
I
really
saw it on TikTok the other day. I was like, oh, the timing couldn't be any better.
I think that's just like such a powerful message of, because people are so afraid to fail and so afraid to make mistakes, but like we want to fail. Like we're at a point now where Lily and I are like, okay, cool, like another failure, great. What have we learned? Like we've just learned to switch it. And I think, I mean, growing up, you like failure is deemed as bad and mistakes are bad, but they actually make up the best part of your life.
100%.
Even regrets as well. There are so many things that I could have regretted from a few years ago, but if I did, I wouldn't have learnt so much about myself and like who I am today as well.
No,
So,
100%. And who knows where you would have been. I
Exactly.
don't know. Like, I'm so happy with where I am at now. Like, if I didn't do what I did when I was 18, 19, 20, I wouldn't probably, like, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in the Gold Coast probably, wouldn't have Oakley, wouldn't have my own business. Like, they have a funny way of things, like, working out. And I think that ties in well with the other tattoo, which is I choose hope, because I think growing up, like, obviously dealing with, like, depression, I had a very negative mindset of, like, this isn't going to work out. Like, nothing's, you know, like, it's, things aren't going to get any better.
Yeah.
But I think once I started implementing, like, what if they do turn out better? Or, like, things have a funny way of working out. I think I started seeing a lot of changes in my life. Yeah. So it's a good reminder to, like, okay, instead of choosing the negative outcome, let's choose the positive one.
Yeah.
I love it.
You have such a powerful message, and I'm excited to see you explore
I know.
the authentic side
Oh,
of you.
thank you. I need to, like, make sure I'm, like...
We're going to be on to you. We're going to be like, right, one
please.
TikTok a week.
Every time you post something
Please.
slightly different, I'm like, yes, go girl, next one.
No, but it's just been so nice. Like, as much as everything's sucked online at the moment, just, like, the support I have felt from, like, this community has been, like, so healing. Because I think, like, I was so scared, like I said earlier, of, like, not being accepted and, you know, people not supporting me. But, like, you know, this space and even, like, other people, like, so many people in the fitness industry that are so, like, well respected, all are so supportive and, like, understanding and so kind. I think that's just one thing that's been such a positive, like, a nice surprise, because I really wasn't sure, I guess, the reception I would get for, like, opening up, like, if people would get it or not.
I love it. We just want to finish off with a few questions so people can get to know you a little bit better.
Yay.
So 5 quick fire questions. First one is your star sign.
Scorpio.
What are the quick traits with that one? Do we know?
I think loyal.
Yeah.
I think they can be pretty, like, fierce and passionate. I'm not sure the other ones.
We'll run with those. They sound really good.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh, I had to, like, think about these. I would say happy. I would say loyal. And I would say resilient.
I think resilient is my favourite one there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Your hall pass.
Austin Butler.
Few people have said that.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that one was a bit niche.
No, a few people have said that. A lot of the time I actually have no idea who these people are that the person we're interviewing says. But I'm like, yeah,
Really?
nice.
Your favourite food?
Chocolate covered strawberries. or pasta. But, I love the chocolate covered strawberries.
Yeah, yeah.
They're so
And
good.
the final one, what did you want to be growing up?
So many things. Again, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a psychologist, a criminologist, an interior designer, exterior designer, and there was one more, but I can't think of it right now.
Wow, there's so many broad different
and a personal trainer.
Oh, you ticked that one off.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows what the future holds?
Literally.
Well, Sky, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I hope, and I know this will have a very positive impact on our audience and yours as well, but we can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Oh, thank you.
And finally, where can people find you on socials and your business as well?
SKYE SUTTON 12 is my TikTok. SKY_Sutton is my Instagram. And then alignactivewear.com is my brand.
Well, go give her a follow on everything because you're going to be seeing everything to do with Sky coming up over for the rest of her life, basically.
Yeah, or until I'm 30 and
She's out of here. Well, again, thank you so much for having this conversation today with all of us. I'm sure everyone is going to appreciate it, and also just for you to get your story out there.
Oh, and thank you, girls. Like, I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to just talk and share everything and open up with you all.
Love you so much.
Amazing.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.